Hype TV people! This video is the reason we have processes in the building trade. In particular, what we're doing now is snagging, and I'm going to show you the reasons as to why we snag. So first of all, we've got to get rid of the rubbish, but in the true spirit of hype, is rather than hiding everything from you, it's not always rosy-posy and everything goes swimmingly. Sometimes we get nasties, and this is the nasty video. So I'm going to go round now and show you some of the things to look out for and the reason that you should do snags. One of the things that I'd noticed is on these door closers, so we've got this piece of timber here between my fingers, it's called an architrave. And then beneath that, which is a separate piece of timber, is the door frame. So it's a fire door frame, which means it's a bit thicker. And what the joiner's actually done is where he screwed the arm, he screwed it into the architrave and not gone through and met it into the door frame. So the screws not met the door frame. So what was happening before we came and fixed it, is if I stood underneath here, and anybody else can do this, all you need to do this, people, he's very technical, you just need some eyes. So as you can see, very vaguely, you'll see that where my finger is there, going down here, sorry, get the right part, John, going down there's a gap, there was daylight, and what was doing is that because this is under tension, this arm, it's pushing away from here, so it's pushing this way. So it was pulling the architrave off. So again, because we've managed to fix it, is rather than saying it's done and not doing these checks, a tenant could have moved in there, and within about 3 months that could have pulled the architrave off, created a lot of damage, needs some plastering, some filling. So problem prevented. Another thing that we've noticed is although it's all been tiled in here, there's been no silicone sealant around here. So again, if we hadn't picked it up, when someone's doing the dishes, etc., blah, 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 if water gets on top and it runs behind, because the worktop is timber, the water's going to go behind there, full behind, and then the water's going to start blowing, which is going to start disrupting and making the worktop knackered. So then we could have been in a position where we got water leak, damp coming from it, and we would have had to change all of this worktop. So again, reason for processes, people. There are reasons. Obviously, we know we've got some builders rubbish outside, so I'm not too worried about that. Now, obviously, we do these checks at the very end. We do check the project throughout as we're going around doing our inspections, etc., but things do get missed. So this is almost at completion stage. And this is a bedroom. And can anybody spot the problem? Ding, ding, ding. It's got vinyl. And it's not got carpet, and it's not what I wanted. So Mr. Carpet Fitter needs to come back and rectify this, because Mr. Tenant doesn't want to be on vinyl, he wants to be on, or she, on carpet. Another snag. Now it gets worse. These things get worse. Stay tuned. So we're going to go up the stairs, up the wooden hills, because there's one major one, there's one thing that's causing us lots and lots of issues. So, into this bedroom. So obviously this is an existing window. We do need a builder's clean, we're not at that stage just yet. Like I say, carpets have just gone down. Walking away. So this is a telltale sign of some of the problems that we're finding. And in this particular house, the plastering is not up to much. So if you can see, I'm hoping the camera can get that, there's lots of hairline cracks here. And you can hear that it's popped. And what that means is when the plasterer's been applying his skim to the wall, the plaster at the top, it's hollow when you tap it. So the telltale sign is if you tap it and it's firm, you can hear the different decibels. You can hear that it's hollow. Now it's a solid wall, which means the plaster's not adhered to the wall that was previously there. It's not been adhered. So I have spoken to the plasterer and he's assured me that he's used PVA, but if he has, He's either not used enough, or it was too weak, or he hasn't put enough coats on. So that plaster's going to fall off eventually, so we're going to have to put that right. That's not a good thing. So again, in the view of transparency, this is, people, no bullshit with me, you get what you see. So this was another one, which was exactly the same problem, and we've got a bit more evidence of this. So again, same problem where the joiners put screws in that aren't quite touching, or aren't quite long enough, and if you can see here, oh, I'm trying to get it on camera. Right, there you go, there's the angle. You can see all the way down here, it's all started to come away, and it's because this arm, again, is not connected into the frame, so it's just pulling this away, because when the joiners fit these, they are just a little tiny nail gun, and then a couple of screws if you're lucky, or maybe a bit of silicone, but it's not enough to take the force of one of these door closers. So again, beady eye thing to look out for. Also, something else we've looked out for is we've changed this window. Now, we're aware that it's got a crack in it there, so we're going to replace that. However, when this is a HMO, so we are bound by regulations. Now, when we brought these windows, we were assured, and we did tick the little box on the window manufacturer's little sheet to say that we wanted fire egress hinges. Stay on fire egress hinges, which means you open it normally to a certain place, and then you have to press a little button so it's got like a restrictor. Now they haven't put those particular hinges on, so what they've had to do is supply us with some aftermarket window hinges, so that when this window closes, I'll show you, like so, it catches. If you push it, this little device here stops it from going anymore. So it's to stop anybody falling out, but if you do want to go down, you just push it down and do this one-handed, and you can open it. So if there's a fire, you can get out, but so you can't just sit here and fall out as a restriction. You can get secondary ones rather than the actual hinges. Now these hinges are fire egress, but they're not stay-on fire egress, which means they would have a little locking system on there. So the manufacturer's actually f***ed up. But the BDI found it, sorted it. So when a tenant moves in, again, no more f***ups. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the camera around this way so that you can't see what's behind me, because that's the finale of f***ups. So again, this bedroom. Now, obviously when I'm doing these checks, I do check everything, not just joinery, not just plastering, not just painting, not just carpet fitting. Plumbing, people, plumbing. Plumbing is a thing that costs you money. As in, when it goes wrong, water gets everywhere, and when water gets everywhere, it causes damp stains, so then it could be plastering as well as painting, it could be new carpet. So for me, water causes the most damage, so the plumbing really needs to be on point. And it's not. Tiny little ensuite. We've got a sink here, shower. Behind me we've got a toilet. It's very, very snug. However, it's all within HMO regs, etc. But then I start looking for little problems that my little beady eye might pick up on. So, my eyes turn around, so I'm going to flip the camera. Can you see that? I'm not sure if the camera can get this, but right along there, there's a line. So where they've cut this out and made a splashback, there's a line all the way along there. So when someone's having a shave or having a wash, water can get between that gap. No f***ing silicone! None all the way along, which means when water can get behind there, and because we're in a vanity unit, you're not going to see the water until it hits the floor and goes through down to downstairs. Tiniest little thing missed. That could have caused massive problems for me. But again, my little process sheet sorts it out. And whilst I'm on the topic of plumbers, can you tell I'm having a bit of a bad day with plumbers? Stand back here. Let me set the scene for you, folks. Shower cubicle. So these are called shower panels. Shower panel there. Shower panel there. And then just so you get this, so you can see that it's one piece to there, one piece to there. In the centre, Going up there is a little trim. That's obviously so that the two pieces can slot inside, and slot that way, and then you put silicone down there, and the idea is then that that's a watertight seal, because it's a shower, and there's like water, and it needs to be watertight. But my plumber, can you see this gap? Going all the way down. Not just that, look, things moving. So I'm specifically looking here where my finger is there's a gap between this grey and the edge of there, and it goes all the way down. Now I can't see what you can see, but this piece here is loose. So when there's water, it can quite easily get down that gap, fall behind and go downstairs, and that's all the way down. So the plumber has put no silicone in there, and that's going to cause one huge water leak. So again, follow the process. I've caught it with my eye. So now I can get them back to take that off and refit it properly. Anyway, feel better now. Grind on my chimp. Okay. This bit I love. This is the finale. I've got one more good one, jokey one after this. But this one is the thing. This is the major up that's going to cost me more time to get this right. And this is what we walked into. All plaster behind, setting the scene, it's nice and warm. Painted, carpets are down, skirting boards are done, second fix joinery's done, second fix plumbing's done, everything's there. What the really? So again, in the view of transparency, it doesn't always go to plan. I can just pick it off with my fingers. So, this is what we've came into. So now I'm going to explain to you where I think the problem's gone, because the plaster's actually saying that he's not done what I've said, but if I'm honest, I don't believe him. So, we have an existing wall behind. This wall's previously got some form of coating on it, which is standard. So what we'd have to do in this case of this is we'd either board over the wall, or we would scrape the wall down, prep it, keep the surface, and we would apply many coats of either PVA or SBR bond, which is like a glue. And the idea is so that then gets sealed. So that when we apply the plaster that's wet over the top of it, it's got something to fasten to, because the PVA is like a glue. So again, we would take the surface, we would prep it with a bit of sandpaper, we would get rid of all the dust, make it so that it goes down to the part that's pretty firm. We would then apply multiple coats of PVA until we were happy. Now, the plasterer is saying he's done that. Now, this is the skim. Typical skim, it's, about 3 mil thick, correct? It's been painted. Everything's okay. But now my argument is that if said plasterer has done what he said, we wouldn't be able to do this, because it's chalky and it's flaky. And it can come off in my hands. Now if it was sealed properly, I wouldn't get dust on my hand. So I think someone's telling me porcupines. So, I shall sort that out, and I shall sort that out my way. And that's for me to know, and you not to know. However, that will get sorted. But again, follow the process. This is why we have snags. We catch these things before they become a problem. Now, for the final snag, and the absolute take of this particular video of what some of the trades have actually done for me, is we've got another shower, Mr. Plumber. And on this particular one, he's having a little bit of a laugh with me. Look. Can you see the gap here moving? Just let's get a zoom in, eh? Let's get in close. Look, all the way down. Let's look. I'm trying to get a good camera angle with you people so you can see. Okay. Can you tell what it is yet? I can tell what it is. It's so, Mr. Plumber will be coming back and he's going to remove all this cubicle, take that shower panel off the wall and fix it properly and not just gob some silicone down there, because that's a cheat. They're going to take it off and do it again, and they're going to do it properly under my supervision. There we go. So, that's the reason we have processes, people. And that's the reason that you need to adopt these processes, so that you don't end up with a house like this before it's too late. You have tenants moving in, lots of mistakes, lots of things going wrong, lots of unhappy tenants, no money. Let this be a lesson to you. Follow processes. There's a reason for them. And then you get a happy John, not an angry John. Learn, people. Big love.